Being in the live classroom with your students the first couple of times can be a little bit overwhelming, so you want to make sure that you think through some of the things to prepare for. There are checklists available in Haiku. You can make your own notes, make sure that you have an opportunity to practice. But here are 10 live class guidelines and best practices that we want to really emphasize that are part of our policy and part of some of the things that we have learned over the years work best when working with students. So the first one is to make sure that they're signed in correctly. First name or first name and last initial only, and state. We don't want city and state. We don't want full names because these recordings are out there and for confidentiality, security reasons, we want students to only have their first name listed. You can have students sign out and sign back in to correct this if necessary. All right, next, start on time. A lot of times every time, I will actually start a timer, and I will have the timer start however many minutes when we're about 10 minutes away, and I will have it say something like class begins in, and then you start it. And you can see right up here that there's a countdown, helps keep me focused, know what we're doing. I will also do the same thing with, can stop the timer, breaks. I can say class resumes in or break ends in and set that timer. And then there's an audible ding, helps keep me on track. So starting on time is very, very important. Kick off your class with prayer. It helps you focus. It helps set the tone for the class. Doesn't have to be long. Some teachers will ask for very brief prayer requests. Taking a minute or two at the beginning to kind of set that expectation, hand everything over to the Lord is going to be a powerful message to your students and will help your class go more smoothly. Make sure you start the recording. When you first come in, there's a little pop-up, but a lot of times you don't need it at that point. You don't want to start it then. You start the recording when your class begins, because if you start it when people are coming in, then you have a lot of dead air time at the beginning. So you start it right on time when you begin your class. You click on it and you'll see that there is a recording that you start. There is an audible notification that the recording is going. You see up here that the recording is playing. And then at the end of class, I'm just going to leave that going for now until we get to the end. But don't forget to record. Some teachers have sticky notes. Some teachers put it into their deck to start the recording now at the very beginning of their slides. Some teachers ask their students to help them remember. Students are great at helping and reminding teachers, don't forget the recording, because there is nothing more frustrating than holding an entire 90-minute class and having to redo the entire class because you forgot to record. All right, breaks. For our younger students, 4th, 5th grade, you can do one break every 30 minutes. Like 3 to 5 minutes to give them a chance to get up, stretch, get a drink of water. For our older group, you can do a 3 to 5 minute break at the half mark at 45 minutes to give you a chance to get some water, stretch your legs, and to give students a chance to do the same. Students are quick to remind you about breaks, so you shouldn't have any trouble remembering those. A quick note about professionalism. We'll talk about this at various points throughout the recordings, throughout our faculty meetings, but it's important to always remember that you can build relationships with students, you can communicate with them, but you want to maintain that professional boundary. If you want to stay positive, you want to always maintain that kind of aura of professional demeanor. So you don't want to go on and on and on about all of the things that were wrong with your day, how hard things are, how overworked you are, how busy things are, because this makes you inaccessible to students. So it's not a bad thing to say, oh, wow, this has been a tough week. But don't go into 15 minutes about all of the things that are wrong and how your child threw up on you and you ran out of gas, and you don't want to overwhelm students with that kind of negative. And the other thing is, with professionalism, to always remain positive. Technical issues happen, things go wrong. Remaining calm, remaining positive, having backup plans, and letting students know that it's really going to be fine, it's all going to work out, um, and we'll find a solution for whatever it is going to go a long way towards helping them feel confident about whatever they're concerned about. Please make sure that you make announcements if there are any class changes, if there is anything upcoming, that you post those to your slides, to presentations, that you make the announcement during class, and you post those announcements in the Haiku class pages. You want to make sure that you do everything that you can to communicate important information to your families and to your students, and only doing it once in one way is often not going to get them. The same thing is going to be true of assignment guidelines. Now there are specific guidelines about when to publish assignments and those sorts of things. Some of that is in the handbook, some of it you'll get in the recordings, but you want to make sure that that is communicated during class. It is never a good idea to say, watch the class page, or I'll send you an email with the assignment later. You want to be able to explain it to them, you want to be able to model for them, and you want to be able to answer questions right then before they leave the class. So it is very important that you have your assignments for the week included in your deck, and that you are prepared to explain them thoroughly to your students at the end of class before they leave for the week. All right. Full 90-minute class. Begin on time, go until the break, continue until the end, a full 90-minute class. Cutting out 5, 10, 15 minutes later is not okay. Parents have paid for these classes and they expect the full amount each week. The same is actually true of running over. We do not want teachers to go 5, 10, 15 minutes over with their class either, because parents have other activities, students have other classes, and it's very stressful for students to feel like they can't leave. And so it's important that you start and stop on time. So that's actually the last one as well, to finish on time. Both the full 90-minute class and finishing on time are equally important, so that everybody feels very secure in knowing that they're getting what they have paid for, that they're getting what they need to be able to learn the material, but that they won't have extra or lose out on anything in the meantime. So these are some good things to keep in mind as you are working through and practicing getting prepared for that first class.